Good afternoon, New Orleans, or wherever you may be. It's Wednesday at 4, so we must be Baldy and the Blonde.
Yes, we are.
We indeed are Baldy and the Blonde. I'm Tom Coates with...
Michelle Godin.
Michelle Godin. Michelle, I got to tell you this.
Yes, sir.
So this is the first warm day, really, of the season.
Yes.
And when we took separate cars to the studio, I didn't tell you this till right now. You're hearing it for the first time.
Yes, sir.
I'm sitting at a stoplight back at Baronne and Poydras, and this woman... beautiful woman crossed in front of me. Now it's a warm day, so everybody's just wearing like little T-shirts or halters and shorts or whatever. Yeah. I think I broke 3 commandments as she passed in front of me.
So your wife isn't listening today.
She never. No, she doesn't.
She doesn't listen to you.
No, and I'll edit this out that way she can't. I won't edit. I don't.
No, you won't. No, you won't. Well, looks like Jeffrey Epstein is the news, huh?
Well, unfortunately.
Unfortunately.
Because there's a way to get it out of the news.
Talks about its transparency would be nice.
Yeah, that would be a good start.
Looks like a lot of people have sat on a very serious pile of information.
Okay, so you...
in a bipartisan, disgusting way, I might add.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So you came across something like right before we had it out the door. Honestly, I have not even looked at what you printed and gave to me. But it's incredible.
Well...
the information that's in there.
It does have to do with... dead bodies buried at Jeffrey Epstein's ranch.
A ranch in, I think, New Mexico, right?
Yes.
I think is it by Santa Fe?
I actually don't know. It's called the Zorro Ranch, like the mark of Zorro.
Yeah.
Pretty weird, and it was owned by New Mexico Governor,
Bill
the
Richardson.
3-term governor. I think that was Bill Richardson, right? Was he the 3-term?
Oh, I don't know.
Well, the only other one would be Janet Napolitano, and God only knows with her as well. So I don't know which one, but they just the info I read was that he bought it from a 3-term governor of New Mexico,
but didn't name a name.
Right. I assumed it was Richardson, but it could actually be someone else. But I think it's Richardson. Anyway, so it turns out that this is just infuriating. Okay, the FBI has had information on Jeffrey Epstein going back to 2000, and there's a lot of information that he's probably working with the CIA. He's seen in photos with boxes of CIA files. Who knows? But anyway, this is an email that I just saw, and I'm sure other people have found it, but there's millions of pages, which, by the way, if anyone wants to look at the actual Epstein file release, you just go to justice.gov/Epstein. And
because justice is running rampant in the land.
Justice, just us. Yes. This is a perfect example of there is no justice, there's just us. And the us is the untouchable elite class, which apparently every conspiracy theory that we are ruled by pedophile, sex driven, crazy people.
We've been saying it for years.
Yes, forever.
And we've been right for years.
Apparently it's true. Yes, seems that it's all true. So here's an email from a guy named Eddie Aragon.
You looked him up, I think.
I did. Right. We're going to get to that in a sec. Don't.
Okay, because I don't know who it is. I have no idea.
Anyway, and it says the subject is confidential. Jeffrey Epstein, Monday, November 25th, 2019. And Eddie, I guess Eddie got this email and then he forwarded it to, I believe, the FBI. He says he did. So he gets this email, which apparently purports to be from someone who works at Epstein's ranch. Okay? Yeah, Eddie got the email, okay, from somebody who worked at Epstein's ranch. So that
I see. Okay, and then he forwarded
and then he forwarded it to the FBI.
Okay.
So the email from somebody who supposedly works at Epstein's ranch at the time is, Edward, this is sensitive. Well, you know what? Maybe we should say who Eddie is first, because it won't make any sense.
And I don't know who it is.
Okay, Eddie Aragon was a conservative talk show host in New Mexico.
Ah, okay.
And the ranch is in New Mexico. So presumably, the person who says, I'm sending you this email, I work for Epstein at the ranch, and passes the info along, thinking that, Eddie Aragon is a good place to send it, because he's a conservative talk show host. And as we know, sometimes criminals send things to like TMZ with regard to Nancy Guthrie, etc. So anyway, here is the email. Edward, this is sensitive, so it will be the first and last email, depending on your discretion. You can choose to take it or trash it, but this comes from a person that has been there and seen it all, as a former staff at the Zorro. And again, the Zorro is Epstein's ranch in New Mexico, in a very isolated, large piece of property.
And it is just a little bit south of Santa Fe, I think.
Is that right? Yeah. And it has, I know it has its own helipad, and, it's very, like, you could, hide out there, and nobody would know you're coming or going. Back to the email. Quote, "The material below was taken from Jeffrey Epstein's home as my insurance in case of future litigation against Epstein." And then he puts in capital letters, "Sorry, no questions."
Okay, let me interrupt 1 second.
Yep.
So that when he says material below, what it is, it's links to
Yes.
videos that involve, specifically in their file names, underage girls, rape,
Right.
rape fantasy video, more about underage girls. These are all just in the file names. Obviously, nobody can click on these links in the DOJ file.
Correct. And now listen, we don't know because the DOJ still has not released everything.
No, and as a matter of fact,
So they could have these videos.
They're not even supposed to be able to redact who's was emailing this stuff. They're in violation of federal law on that.
That's right.
They can redact only victims' information.
Right. And so, continuing with this letter, again, from someone who worked, according to him, from somebody who worked for Jeffrey Epstein. And here comes the really bad part. Quote, "What is damning about Jeffrey Epstein is yet to be written. Did you know, somewhere in the hills outside the Zorro, 2 foreign girls were buried on orders of Jeffrey and Madam G. Both died by strangulation during rough fetish sex." Sorry about that, but that's what it says. And then he says, "Here are the video footage of Jeffrey Epstein." And he notes videos with sex with a minor, threesomes, an underage girl sex video, and then an underage girl with Matthew Mellon, and an underage girl in what he terms a rape fantasy video. And then finally, 15 minutes, girl from Bay Area suicide attempt confession to Madam G, audio. So apparently someone talking to Ghislaine, presumably Madam G is Ghislaine Maxwell. And then it says, "Please arrange for 1 Bitcoin by 6 p.m. today to the following Bitcoin wallet."
So it sounds like maybe Eddie Aragon agreed to pay for the information. I'm guessing
I'm
that.
not sure.
That's why he says.
Because I don't
Why would
know
he say,
that.
"Please arrange for 1 Bitcoin"? Why would he give him the information?
Yeah, I
and that's
don't know
payment?
what to make of that, but that's what I mean. Who knows?
I mean, it does. That's reasonable.
Yeah, I
But they had
wonder that
they had a conversation, and he just paid for the information.
Could
People
be.
sell information all the
Oh
time.
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, and
There's
it
nothing
may be.
wrong
I
with
just didn't get the impression Eddie Aragon had that much money. But Bitcoin back in 2019 was probably what, 40 grand or something.
I don't know.
I don't know either, but I don't know. It's a little confusing. So, then he says the USB will be sent anonymously to your attention by overnight courier upon receipt of the funds. You have my assurance this is exclusive, never shared before, no attorneys, no samples, no questions. Please confirm ASAP. So I guess you're right. Presumably, I didn't read that last sentence till just now. So presumably, I guess payment was made by somebody.
Sounds like there
Maybe
was
Eddie's
previous
station.
conversations
Who knows? Right?
about pay me this, I'll send you that.
I mean, and then it gets even weirder. Okay, so my number one question though is,
Yeah.
who was Christopher Wray at the time? Right, was the FBI director.
Okay, so this was
2019.
1 year before the 2020 election. So Trump was still in office.
It was a few months. Probably December 2019.
Well, he left
So-
office in 2021. So there was
January,
like
yes.
14 months under
And
Trump.
so Christopher Wray is the FBI director during that time.
Yes.
Very, very frantically, busily addressing those criminals at January 6th, those grandmas.
Yeah.
But no time for this. Just a couple of dead bodies out there on the Zorro Ranch. And to my knowledge, there's never been, to this day. But we'll see when we come back. More Epstein disgusting details. Welcome back to Baldy and the Blonde. I'm Michelle Godin here with Tom Kowitz every Wednesday at 4. And you can check out all our shows at baldyandtheblonde.com, where we have all of our old shows without commercials, which is kind of cool. You can also download the WGSO app now, which makes it really easy to listen off your phone live if you choose to do it that way. Tom, we were discussing how fabulously the FBI and DOJ have acquitted themselves in handling an actual criminal, Jeffrey Epstein. And
what?
It seems that for years, at least
What a
20
farce.
years,
Just
at
a
least 20 years.
farce.
Meanwhile, they'll come after you if you
Oh.
don't dot an I on your
Oh,
tax return.
absolutely.
Right? Yeah.
Good
It's just
luck
enough,
with that.
man. At some point, the plebes
Oh,
need to unite and rise up
I think,
against these jerks that run our country.
I think it's okay if we redact our information on our tax returns.
Yeah, how about
I'll just
we do
redact
that? Yeah,
everything.
just redact it.
What about this, Mr. Coates?
It's redacted.
It's redacted. Yeah. But federal law says you can't do that. Yearly, because federal law says you can't redact the stuff in the Epstein file, and they're doing that, and nobody's going to, there's no way anybody's ever going to pay a price.
No,
At most,
one.
Bondi will be pressured to step down or something.
Well, she needs to go.
But it is
I mean, she has to go.
it is a fine punishable by up to 20 years.
Yeah, nothing's gonna happen.
For not complying with the Release the Epstein File Act or whatever they called it. Yeah. And
And when was that passed?
you,
December.
Yeah.
So I promise you, here's the defense.
Or November, maybe.
We said we were hurrying up to give you all the files after hiding them for, I don't know, 7 years, or however long they've had them, and we just overlooked some stuff like co-conspirators, and they conveniently redact anything that might be really important. So they're not supposed to redact anything.
No, well, you know what gets really interesting is that under the law, there's two things that they can redact for. One is victims' information.
Yeah.
And another is national security. My question is, how could there possibly be one thing in a file that's supposed to be about someone who's just a financial advisor?
Yeah. Well,
How could there be
money launderer.
anything that puts national security at risk? What are they even talking about?
No, it's come on. It's just disgusting. So I heard that Pam did a very bad job today.
Well, okay, this morning she did. She was dragged in front of some committee, and Thomas Massey, metaphorically, undressed her. It was brutal.
Yeah, he's good.
And I had to put it on 1.75 speed because I was swamped, but I was able to get the gist of it. It was brutal to her, and she fought back stupidly. She even at one point, she was getting beat so badly. She goes, "This man has TDS syndrome," or
so
whatever.
ridiculous.
Like,
He actually
come on, man.
he had one of the highest vote in agreement with Trump ratings in the Congress.
Oh yeah.
I think it was the highest actually. Just on a few things, he's like, yeah, no, I'm not voting to increase the trillions and trillions of dollars that were already in debt. And for that he
Right, but other than that,
Trump makes some bad decisions, man.
Well, but
the alternative is horrible, but he makes some dumb decisions. Like Massey is not the enemy. Massey's a hero, in my opinion.
He's totally a hero. Oh, you know what? Now is a good time because speaking of heroes, he has a co-conspirator in being a hero,
Yes.
a co-hero in Ro Khanna,
Ro Khanna.
congressman he's a Democrat. Give credit where credit is due.
Yes, we have the only Democrat that I know of that stands up for truth and justice.
Well,
but he pretty consistently
at least
does.
he did here. Yeah. And we have a clip of him from, I think it's just yesterday.
Yeah.
And it's gives us a little look into what these guys are up against. Congresspersons were allowed to go in and view the files unredacted. Well, supposed to be able to see them unredacted. They couldn't take staff. They could take notes. They couldn't take any photos or anything like that. They had only 2 hours.
Right.
And 3.5 million pages to sort through. But let's just hear what he said that experience was like and what they were able to find. This is Ro Khanna yesterday.
Yesterday, Congressman Massey.
On the floor of the House.
Yes.
Yesterday, Congressman Massey and I went to the Department of Justice to read the unredacted Epstein files. We spent about 2 hours there, and we learned that 70 to 80% of the files are still redacted.
Okay, that's in direct violation. That's a felony, by the way.
Yep.
In fact, there were 6 wealthy, powerful men that the DOJ hid for no apparent reason. When Congressman Massey and I pointed this out to the Department of Justice, they acknowledged their mistake, and now they have revealed the identity of these 6 powerful men. These men are Salvatore Navora, Zorab Mikaladze, Leopig Leonor, Nikola Caputa, Sultan Ahmed bin Sulayem, CEO of Dubai Ports World, and billionaire businessman Leslie Wexner, who was labeled as a co-conspirator by the FBI. Now, my question is, why did
You heard that?
Co-conspirator.
And specifically
With?
a co-conspirator in trafficking minors. Not just for something other charge. It was specifically for trafficking minors. And he's been protected for years.
I mean, I have no words.
Well, when you're a billionaire, you get protected.
it take Thomas Massie and me going to the Justice Department to get these 6 men's identities to become public? And if we found 6 men that they were hiding in 2 hours, imagine how many men they are covering up for in those 3 million files. But the story gets worse. The reality is that Donald Trump's FBI scrubbed these files in March, long before Thomas Massie and I passed the Epstein Transparency Act. Now, my bill is clear. The Epstein Transparency Act requires them to unredact those FBI files. And yet the Justice Department said to me and to Congressman Massie, we just uploaded whatever the FBI sent us. And guess what? The FBI sent scrubbed files. That means the survivor's statement to the FBI, naming rich and powerful men who went to Epstein's island, who went to his ranch, who went to his home and raped and abused underage girls or saw underage girls being paraded, they're all hidden. They're all redacted.
This is so disturbing, but it's exactly the stuff that you and I have been talking about for
Forever.
years, privately
Go
and on
back
the
and
air.
listen to our shows in 2008.
It's not shocking. It's just really dismaying, but we're not shocked
The only
by
bone
it.
I'm going to pick with Ro Khanna is Trump's FBI, which is the FBI and the DOJ have been
Well, no, but
covering
he
up
is-
for... No, I know what he's talking about.
He said that they sent, because the law had been passed under the Trump administration, and the law was it must be unredacted, and they did not provide unredacted information.
Correct. I understand that, but I'm still saying that it's not just Trump's FBI that's been covering up.
No, it's not. But
I mean,
that portion of it was Trump's FBI.
No doubt about it. However, I would like to know what any FBI agents have been doing with regard to the missing dead bodies on the ranch, for
I can tell you what
example.
they've been doing.
Nothing.
They've been going to help dig them up and hide them deeper or
That's
something.
right. They put them. There's an incinerator down the road on the Google Maps, so I'm sure that maybe there's been some fires burning.
Just keep paying your federal taxes so we can keep
Oh,
funding these monsters. That's what's happening.
It's a joke, man.
We fund the monsters.
We are building, as to coin Alex Jones from many, many years ago, it's a prison planet, and you're paying for it.
Yeah.
You are paying for your own demise of your own freedom, and here's how they do it. The left has this thing, and they hate the right, and the right hates the left, and the left hates the right, and the right hates the left. Meanwhile, the people in charge are robbing us blind.
Boy, you ain't kidding.
Allowing invasion of our country, giving our money away, laundering our money. That's what Jeffrey Epstein's job was.
And protecting these demons.
Yeah.
They're all in it together. So when we come back, I do want to read a Twitter or X exchange between Thomas Massie and Todd Blanche, who's the U.S. Deputy Attorney General. But before we get into that, I want to talk a little bit more about Massie's squabble this morning with Pam Bondi.
Yeah.
So Massie was saying, hey, look, this guy, Les Wexner, not to be confused with Lex Luthor.
Maybe they are one and the same.
Yeah, so Les Wexner is listed by the FBI in the Epstein documents. I think it's by the FBI, maybe the DOJ, as a conspirator
with Epstein,
in the sex trafficking of children. That was redacted illegally. Obviously, a targeted reaction because that guy's name, Wexner's name, appears in the Epstein file thousands of times. Well, this guy, Todd Blanche, again, U.S. Deputy Attorney General, in response to Massie, when Massie's saying, hey, why is he redacted? This guy said, look, we're not trying to hide anything. His name appears in the file thousands of times, which Massie replied, yeah, and Bondi was defending the same thing. She goes, no, he's in there thousands of times. He goes, yeah, but it's redacted when he's named as a co-conspirator.
That's right.
And you know what she said? Well, we fixed it within 40 minutes of getting the information. He goes, yeah, you got the information because I'm the one that busted you for it. And she doubled down, saying, no, but you know everything. He was already in there thousands of times. Yeah, but when a co-conspirator, he's redacted.
Just happened to omit the most important designation of him as a co-conspirator with Epstein. So we are Baldy and the Blonde, raging against the machine. Every Wednesday at 4.
Yeah, that's
We'll
a good
be
band
back.
name. Odd Family and Country and Baldy and the Blonde.
Oh, yes, of course.
All right, don't forget that.
In that order.
In that order, yes. So when we left off, by the way, I'm Tom Coates with the great Michel Godin.
Thank you, Tom.
I'm the bald one. You're the blonde one. I always get those mixed up. So before the break,
Could get you away.
we were talking about a brutal exchange between Massey, brutal for Pam Bondi.
Yeah, I can't wait to
Between
see
Thomas
it.
Massey
She
and Pam
deserves
Bondi
it.
this morning. Just go to YouTube and just put in Thomas Massey, Pam Bondi, and it should come up right away because it was, again, this morning. And he brutalized her over these documents that had been redacted, even though federal law, punishable by 20 years in prison, up to 20 years, says that stuff cannot be redacted.
Yeah.
So now, going back a day...
It's
everyone's-
bipartisan law, too. So
Yeah,
it's really
yeah.
stupid.
Going back 1 or 2 days, it's hard to keep track because things are changing so fast. Massey had this exchange on X with Thomas Blanche, again, Deputy Attorney
Todd.
General. Todd, what did I say?
Todd, you said Thomas, but
Oh,
you're
Todd
thinking
Blanche,
Massey.
sorry. Yes. So here's what Massey tweeted, and he posted a unclassified FBI document. It said that this is well known. This is well known retired CEO. Now, it's redacted in the document. He's talking about Lex Wessner.
Okay.
But he can't name him by name. But he saw it unredacted. Okay. But he can't post it unredacted. He says, this is well-known retired CEO. DOJ should redact this. Why did they redact it? That's all he said.
Let me see that.
Here.
Should redact it. Why did they redact it? That's
He said, this is well-renowned retired CEO,
Oh, okay.
referring to Les
Okay.
Wexner. DOJ
Okay.
should unredact this.
unredacted.
Yeah,
Okay, I got
yes.
it.
Why did they redact it?
All right.
And then Todd
says,
Blanche came back with, the document you cite has numerous victim names. We have just unredacted Lex Wessner's name from this document, but his name already appears in the files thousands of times. DOJ is hiding nothing, except for the fact that he's listed as a co-conspirator.
yeah.
Now, I just jotted down some notes that I wanted to comment on, so I want to read my notes. But here I can tell you Blanche is flat out lying because when he says that document contains numerous victim names, you know how many victims' names it contains?
Zero.
Zero.
Yeah.
Zero. I saw the document. And also, but even if it did have victims' names in it, it's simple.
You just redact the victims.
You keep
I mean,
those
come on.
redacted because there already should be.
Yeah.
And then you unredact, what's his name, Wexner. And then this guy Blanche made the same point Bondi tried to make. Well, his name's in the Epstein files thousands of times. We're not hiding anything.
Right.
Oh, except you redacted it when he's named as a co-conspirator.
Well, and apparently in the thousands of times that Wexner's name is mentioned in the documents, only once is he mentioned as Epstein's co-conspirator, and that is the one and only time they redacted his name.
Yeah. Well, it's possible it's redacted elsewhere and we don't know.
But you know what I mean.
But they obviously targeted that redaction to protect him.
Because he's alive. Yeah.
And again, co-conspirator in what? Not tax evasion.
Child sex trafficking.
About the worst
About
crime
the worst thing.
imaginable.
And God knows that Biden sure brought a bunch of kids, 470,000 are missing
Oh boy, yeah, you're right.
from
Yeah.
the invasion at the border. So everybody
then-
was working hand in hand.
All right, now I want to get back. You have some more.
I do. I have some
emails,
more delightful
and
emails. Y'all, I
These
mean,
are kind of old. But
once again,
they're
let
awesome.
me just tell y'all to go, if you want to search these files yourself,
Oh yeah.
go to justice.gov/Epstein. And for example, the horrific thing that we started the show with the 2 dead bodies, I actually heard somebody else talk about it, so I knew the search term. It's not always easy to find things in millions of pages. In that one, I knew to put in, I believe it was rough fetish sex. Now that's a bizarre search term, and I put it in quotes.
Oh,
'cause
that
I
was me.
knew.
That was just left in my browser. Sorry. But coincidentally, it happened to work out.
It
for the
worked
show.
out great for the show.
Yeah.
So, but you kind of have to know. So, torture, you're going to get a bunch of things, but you will get the following emails that I'm going to read. So, this is let's see, April 24th, 2009. After now, remember that Jeffrey Epstein was branded a sex offender. What, in 2006? I think, is that when he pled guilty?
I don't remember.
I think-
maybe
I
a little bit
forget.
later.
Anyway, so at this time he's writing, on 42409.
Oh, the one. Okay, so the one on 42409. That's from Epstein 2, and then the name is redacted.
Right.
But we now know who it is.
And who is it?
It's the one of the guys that Ro Khanna named. That Sultan. His name is. I'm sure I'm going to mispronounce it. Sultan Ahmed bin Sulayem. He's the Emirati chairman and CEO of the Dubai-based logistics giant DP World, according to the internet.
Pretty rich guy, I think. So it seems to be the commonality in those people who are
Well, yeah.
ignored for prosecution for things that you and the rest of the world would be hung by your toenails and spend the rest of your life in jail. But anyway, the Sultan, whose name was revealed by Ro Khanna, and I guess in the documents today, appears in an email from Jeffrey Epstein on Friday, April 24th, 2009. Where are you? Are you okay? And here's my favorite part. I loved the torture video.
Great. And just to be clear, that is not the instance of this Sultan appearing in the Epstein file that Ro Khanna was talking about.
Okay.
Ro
He's
Khanna
talking
was-
about that page with the 6 people covered up. I got it.
Yes, exactly.
They got it, yeah. All right, and then we have another delightful exchange between Jeffrey and I don't think we know who a guy named Tancredi Marciallo or something. Anyway, if you search the documents for torture, you'll get this one too. To whoever, do you want me to try to do her or just torture her? That's normal.
What is wrong with these people?
It's really.
Well, besides everything you can think of.
Yeah, and I mean, again, how many? Okay, so 2009. Who was the head of the FBI at the time?
Was that Ray?
No, that was under Obama. That's Obama's
Oh.
FBI. So that might have been. I can't think of who his.
Sorry. This is in 2000. That was in 2011.
No, first one was 9, and the second one was 2011. Both times Barack Obama is the president. I just don't remember who his FBI chair was. Was it Mueller?
Well, I don't know. They're all the same.
They're all the same. They
just
don't do
cover up,
anything.
cover up,
They just
cover
go
up.
after regular folks for nothing. So you have. I don't know. They should have had him under the spotlight by then because they knew, and he was given a sweetheart deal. Don't forget, in Florida where he was arrested and charged with sex offenses, he got a sweetheart plea deal. And in the course of the plea deal, the guy who was handling the case for the government, Mr. Acosta, said, well, he's one of ours. He's part of the intelligence community. But because,
I do remember that now.
Everyone knows that Epstein, it makes jokes in the Epstein files about being part of the Mossad, part of the CIA. He's widely suspected to be a spy and a money launderer, collecting dirt so that he can use it against people. And so we can too, the government. Disgusting business, really, but...
All right. Speaking of the search engine, and actually it works really well. You've used it.
Yeah,
You see what I
it's
mean?
really good.
It's very, very. It's shocking how fast it returns.
So fast.
So, but I wanted to caution people when you hear anybody talk about this stuff, including Baldy and the Blonde.
Absolutely.
You need to
us.
check it yourself. And here's why. I have caught some very good independent journalists and even some like Glenn Beck.
Yep.
For one.
He's good, yeah.
And other independent journalists have been caught in traps because they trust things that they've seen without double checking them. I never do that. If I see a post, I go to the Epstein library at the DOJ website. I find that document itself. Because here's an example. You'll see people saying that, I have seen the 101 pages of his medical records from the jail hospital.
Right.
And I put them through AI because it looked to me like it says he was released on August the 9th. The suicide was August the 10th.
Right.
AI agreed with me. I thought, okay, I got to look at it. I I look at medical records a lot.
And we look at redact. We redact and have to. We look at all kinds of stuff.
Well,
like
these
this.
weren't redacted
Right.
really in any way.
Not at all.
But I looked to see, was he released? He was not. So that citizen journalist got it dead wrong. Then Glenn Beck, he said that he is making accusations that there was a noose placed in Epstein's cell somehow after the fact. It didn't. I read the FBI report. There were several nooses in there the morning of the so-called suicide. He also said that the interview done with the guard Michael Thomas.
Yeah.
That they asked him, what happened to the noose? Well, Glenn Beck lost his mind. What do you mean, what happened to the noose? What happened to the noose? He totally lost him. I have the soundbite. I'm not playing it. Well, guess what? I didn't trust that because I never trust anything. I want to source it myself. So I went to this website, the DOJ's website. I found the entire interview. It's a couple hundred pages long. I didn't read the entire thing, but I read 20 pages before and 20 pages after about the portion where they were talking about that morning.
Yep.
There was never a question what happened to the noose. So CBS got it wrong. Glenn Beck got it wrong. So my advice to listeners, don't get it wrong. Whenever you see something, you got to just go to this website, find the documents yourself.
That's
it's
it.
easy, and you'll get it right.
In a nutshell, be like Baldy on Baldy and the Blonde. Where
Except
we try
don't, the bald part. Don't.
try to get it right. Welcome back to Baldy and the Blonde, where we are talking Epstein files with some of the things maybe not as widely discussed on other shows. And now we're going to go into some really crazy territory of the Nancy Guthrie abduction and possible ties to Epstein. Now that's cuckoo.
That is,
Right?
It is cuckoo, but I am just cuckoo enough
To look into such
to
things.
look into this. And I'm not saying I connect the dots. I don't. I don't think there's any dots necessarily to connect. But
it's strange.
if it's not a possible tie, it is at the very least very curious that there's 1 degree of separation between this incident, this abduction, and Jeffrey Epstein. And I know that sounds crazy, but let's just take a look and see
Let's
what
just go
that 1
over
degree
this.
of separation is. So, why don't you go, Michelle, go
Yeah.
over possible tie number 1.
Okay.
I gave you some notes there.
All right, I see him. On September 20th, 2019, NBC aired the first televised interviews with Epstein accusers. 6 of his accusers appeared on the show. The interviewer was Savannah Guthrie, Nancy Guthrie's mother. Fast forward to January 30th of this year when the DOJ released 3 million additional pages of the Epstein files. Then, only about 33 hours later, Nancy Guthrie was abducted from her home.
Okay, so you could, a fiction writer, of which I am one, could construct a scenario as to why there would be those 2 things happening 33 hours apart. I have no idea. I'm not going to surmise any of that. I'm just saying it is very curious that Epstein and this abduction are 1 degree separated and 33 hours apart. Now,
So I didn't think much of that, but when we get into your point number 2, at least, yeah, I think that advances the argument.
yeah, well, let's
So
just look.
hit it.
Possible tie number 2. Savannah Guthrie's husband is Michael Feldman. He describes himself in one of his online bios as senior advisor to Vice President Al Gore and liaison between the Clinton-Gore White House and the U.S. Congress. Only about 38 hours after Nancy Guthrie was abducted, it was announced on X that Bill and Hillary Clinton would appear for in-person depositions in Washington, D.C. in the congressional Jeffrey Epstein probe. Again, I could concoct several weird scenarios
Yeah.
that would make that plausible to show a connection. I'm not saying that they are connected. Again, it's very curious that there's only 1 degree of separation. 38 hours in this case. So to summarize, 33 hours after the DOJ released 3 million pages of the Epstein files, Nancy Guthrie, whose daughter interviewed many Epstein accusers and whose son-in-law was tightly connected to Bill Clinton, is abducted. Then 33 hours after that, the Clintons say, well, they will testify in the Epstein matter. But wait, there's more. I got some lanyard.
There's more.
There is more. In a 2015 email to Epstein, former U.S. Treasury Secretary Larry Summers suggested that Epstein talk to Joe Lockhart at the Glover Park Group because he had helped Clinton in the past. Joe Lockhart was one of 4 founders of Glover Park Group in 2001. Another of the founders was Michael Feldman, Savannah Guthrie's husband, and Nancy Guthrie's son-in-law. So you have Larry Summers emailing Epstein to talk to Joe Lockhart because he thinks Joe Lockhart could help. And Joe Lockhart and Michael Feldman were extremely, extremely tight. So
Can you do the, like, let's do your speculation.
I honestly, I as crazy as I am, I have not even tried to speculate what any connection could be. But put it this way, I'm 65 years old. You're and in my life, there've been a couple of famous abductions.
Hardly any.
Patty Hearst being the most famous.
Yeah.
But
In the 70s. Yeah.
Yeah,
It doesn't
70,
happen very
3,
often.
Whatever. No, and when was the last time? And the answer is, spoiler alert, never, that an 84-year-old woman was abducted, taken from her home, and then there's a ransom note appearing. Do you?
No.
You're years old.
I don't know anything about any of that.
Not even close. That is, no. That is not a thing.
It's not.
So when you see something I have a rule in my conspiracy head. When I see something that is unprecedented, I really start looking into it.
Yeah,
for
'cause it's weird.
things. Because it's just, if it's never happened, what's going on? What other people? What is around this event?
To make it make sense.
What people are around it? What events? What other events are around it? And in this case, you have Savannah interviewing the Epstein. The first one, by the way, she was the first one to interview
A bunch of them. A bunch of
6 of
Epstein
them.
victims.
Then you have Michael Feldman, who
is her husband.
Is the son-in-law of the poor abducted woman. He was tight with the Clintons. And then you have Larry Summers emailing Epstein, right to this guy, because he can help you. And this guy happens to be tight with Feldman. So, okay, that adds a degree of separation. But for the most part, we have 1 degree of separation and only a few hours of separation between the abduction and something happening in the Epstein file.
It's weird.
That is really, it's very suspicious.
And just as equally crazy and probably not related at all, but in the letter that we read earlier with the guy who was writing about the dead bodies in the ranch, he asked for Bitcoin, as has happened in the Guthrie case. And in no other case that I know of has Bitcoin.
Well, but for kidnappings, seriously, when Bitcoin first came out, I literally thought right away.
Well, that's what they're going to use.
That's perfect for kidnappers, because that's a tough thing for a kidnapper to get the money.
But I really want you to, come on, man,
but wait.
do a little speculating.
Well, before I do that, I don't want to run out of time, because I got more stuff.
Oh, all right.
Because nobody has what I'm about to tell you.
Okay.
Because nobody is as crazy and demented
as you,
as me, and really sinking their teeth into this stuff. Okay, so a video from the Nest camera from Nancy Guthrie finally was released yesterday, 9 days after the abduction. Okay, so I thought, that stinks.
That's
9
weird.
9 days.
9 days.
Because they said, remember the early news stories said that she did not have a current subscription with Nest, so they cannot easily get the footage. And then 9 days later, they released it and said, well, the FBI had to coordinate and cooperate with Google to be able to get it. But 9 days, that's ludicrous. It's impossible. There's no way that it's, so I thought that.
There's no way it would take them that long.
Okay,
That's
so
insane.
here's what I thought, because I am crazy. Because the 9 day thing was insane. I thought maybe this was a recreation.
Oh, wow.
Well, because I'm crazy.
Yes, you are.
So I looked at the video that they released, and I freeze framed it so I could, when I had a good look at the porch of her in front of her front door.
Right.
I compared that to the photos of the porch that they took the day after, when they showed the little blood drops on the porch. Well, guess what?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Okay, so in the Nest video, there is a portion of the porch where there's quite a distinct buildup of dirt. You can see it like in the ridges between they're not bricks, but between the tiles or whatever. Yeah. Kind of where grout would go. There's not really grout in there, but a big buildup of dirt where grout would go.
Okay.
Well, that's not there in the video of where the blood is, and that would have ostensibly been just a few hours later.
Right.
And in an area at a crime scene where there's blood, where there's no way anybody would come through and sweep. So, I can't. It's nothing that you prove. It's not dispositive. But here's what we have: we have a 9 day lapse between the abduction and the release of the video. Extremely suspicious.
Yeah, I think.
And then comparing the photos of the porch and that where one was a screenshot done at from an event that happened about 2 o'clock in the morning, and then a photo was taken really just a few hours later.
Yeah, doesn't make
And
any
a
sense.
heavy buildup of dirt in a specific portion of the porch, just to the right of the door as you're standing at the door.